Welcome to the deep dive. Today, we're getting into something really critical. Picking the right software consulting company.
Yeah, it's a big one.
It really is. It kind of reminds me of that Forrest Gump line about a box of chocolates and you never know what you're going to get.
Huh, right.
But honestly, when you're talking about a major software project, just grabbing one at random,
Yeah,
that's not a great strategy. It's pretty much a recipe for disappointment.
absolutely. You've got to be deliberate.
Every single factor, every criterion needs real focused attention.
And that's exactly what we're aiming for today. Our mission really is to unpack those criteria that, experienced managers have found reliable over the years.
Okay.
We'll be looking at sort of four main buckets: technical competence, references, price, always a big one, and something called relational affinity.
Relational affinity.
Okay, interesting.
Yeah, it's often overlooked, but super important. We'll explore the good and the bad of each, the pros and cons. And the idea is to help you build, or maybe just refine, your own list for choosing a partner. Sounds good. So let's start with technical competence. I mean, that feels like the most obvious place, doesn't it?
It usually is, yeah.
But what should you really be looking for? Beyond just, saying they have the skills, the usual things people mention are like successfully completed projects, maybe certifications, having qualified people.
Right, those are definitely the headline items. But there are some crucial catches.
Oh, like what?
Well, take successfully completed past projects. The big caveat there is that people move around in consulting a lot.
Ah, so the team that did that amazing project might not be there anymore.
Exactly. Or they might not be the ones assigned to your project. So you've got to ask who specifically from that success story will be working with me.
Good point. What about certifications?
Certifications can look impressive, but you need to look closely. Are these the exact certifications relevant to what you need? Do they actually add real value to your specific work, or are they just, nice to have?
So digging deeper than just the logo.
Precisely. And then qualified personnel. This sounds basic, but you really need to understand the company's turnover rate.
How many people are leaving?
Yeah. Are you getting a team with experienced folks who've been there a while, or is it mostly recent hires who might be learning on your project? You should feel comfortable asking about team tenure.
Right. You want experience, not just a training ground. So it's much more than just a quick look at their website or a brochure.
Way more. Due diligence is key here.
Okay, so once you've done that homework on their technical side, the next step is often checking references, right?
Mhm.
Getting that reassurance from someone you know, maybe someone who's worked with them before, or getting a tip about a really great consultant they used, that feels pretty solid.
It definitely provides comfort, and it's a really valuable step, no doubt about it.
But I sense a but coming.
Well, yeah. It loops back to that same issue: talent retention and turnover.
Ah,
If your contact raves about a specific consultant, but that person isn't actually available for your project, or maybe they leave the company halfway through.
then the reference isn't worth much for your situation.
Exactly. And this is where you need real clarity with the business manager.
The business manager. Tell me more about that role.
It's a really common thing, you see. In those initial sales meetings, they might showcase their absolute top-tier talent. Really impressive people.
Sure, they want to impress you.
Right. But then when the project actually starts, those stars might only work a few hours, or maybe just remotely, or sometimes, honestly, not really be involved much at all.
Deal bait and switch.
It can feel like that sometimes, so you have to be super clear. If you want that specific person based on a reference or their skills, you need to state that up front. Maybe even try to get it written down somehow.
Documenting expectations. Got it. Okay, let's shift gears to the big one, price.
The elephant in the room, often.
Totally. It's like extremely important, obviously, but also really delicate. Anyone who's managed a technical project has probably had those, let's say, lively debates with the purchasing folks.
Oh, yeah, where the focus is just laser sharp on the lowest possible number.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And look, making a profit, managing costs, that's vital for any business. But getting fixated only on the lowest hourly rate can be short-sighted. There's often more to it, like these hidden costs people talk about.
Right. So what are these hidden costs? Let's take a simple example. Comparing a local consulting firm versus one based much further away, maybe overseas,
Oh.
the sticker price for the faraway company might look much, much lower, really attractive initially.
Sure.
But the local company, even if their rate seems higher, often brings advantages. Shared language, maybe similar cultural context, educational backgrounds. It just makes communication smoother, easier, less friction.
It sort of greases the wheels, as they say.
Exactly. Now, compare that to the low-cost overseas option. You might run into integration challenges, maybe language barriers that slow things down, or you might spend a lot of your own team's time just explaining basic context or details.
And that time is money, hidden cost.
Precisely. Plus, sometimes, not always, but sometimes a really rock-bottom price can be a red flag for maybe not the highest quality team. Corners might be cut somewhere.
Now, that's a fair warning, but we should also say it's not like all lower-cost foreign companies are problematic, right? The source mentions an important exception.
Absolutely right. That's a crucial point. You can find some incredibly qualified, highly organized, and very effective consulting firms offshore or nearshore that offer great value.
So it's not a blanket rule.
Definitely not. And interestingly, navigating this often comes back to that figure we mentioned earlier, the business manager.
Ah, the business manager again. So they're key here, too.
Very much so. People often underestimate this role. They see the business manager as just, the sales guy you talked to at the beginning.
Commercial interface.
Yeah, exactly. And the source calls that view a grave error. A good business manager is much more than that. They should be your strategic point person throughout the engagement.
A partner, not just a salesperson.
Yes. They're vital for keeping resources aligned with what you agreed, helping navigate changes in scope, and crucially, being that consistent contact point even if individual consultants come and go. Choosing a company with a competent, engaged business manager, that's fundamental for making a smart choice.
That really elevates the importance of that role. Okay, our fourth area, relational affinity. This one feels a bit fuzzier, maybe harder to measure.
It can be, yeah. It's often something people consider unconsciously or maybe not systematically enough.
So what does it really mean? Is it just like, do I like these people?
It's partly that, sure. How comfortable do you actually feel talking with the key people at the company you're evaluating? Can you build a good working relationship? Can you discuss difficult things, problems, disagreements, thorny technical issues without it becoming a huge drama? That's really important.
Yeah, you need to be able to have tough conversations.
Absolutely. And another big piece is how well their consultants, the actual team doing the work, will integrate with your existing team. Whether they're working side by side locally or collaborating remotely, does it feel like a cohesive unit or is there friction?
That blend is critical for productivity.
Definitely. But just like with references, there's a final little warning flag here regarding relational affinity.
Oh.
Especially on longer projects, say medium to long-term ones. You might build this fantastic rapport with a specific consultant or lead from their side. You really click, they get your business, things are going great.
And then they leave the consulting company.
Bingo! It happens. And when it does, who steps in? Who ensures continuity?
Let me guess. The business manager.
You got it. A strong relationship with a competent business manager provides that safety net. They understand the project history, the relationship dynamics, and can manage that transition smoothly. It keeps coming back to them.
It really seems like a linchpin role. Okay, so we've walked through the four big areas: technical competence, references, price, and relational affinity. Now, the advice is not just to think about these, but to actually write them down.
Yes, absolutely fundamental. Write down your specific selection criteria based on these areas, tailored to your needs.
And keep that list updated. Why is the writing part so crucial?
Well, think about it. Writing it down forces clarity. But more than that, it gives you a benchmark. Later on, you can look back and evaluate, okay, we chose company X based on these criteria. How did they actually perform against them?
Ah, so it's a tool for learning and improving your own process.
Exactly. And it makes it easier to consciously modify your criteria over time. Maybe you realize one factor wasn't as important as you thought, or maybe something new emerges. You can adjust.
Right.
The source actually shares a little story about someone who initially created this incredibly detailed, super selective list.
Trying to find the absolute perfect fit.
Yeah, but the list was so restrictive, they literally couldn't find any company that ticked every single box.
Analysis paralysis.
Pretty much. It was a good lesson. Your criteria need to be realistic and refined based on experience and, importantly, what the market can actually offer.
And that market is always changing, isn't it? Which means the criteria might need to change too.
Constantly. The source gives a great, timely example: artificial intelligence. AI is reshaping everything right now.
For sure.
So imagine a consulting company that was absolutely perfect for your needs last year. They knew your systems inside out, great relationship, everything.
Sure.
But maybe they haven't kept up. Maybe they haven't invested in AI skills or adapted their offerings for this new landscape. Suddenly, they might not be the right fit anymore, even if everything else stayed the same.
So you're forced to reevaluate that relationship and potentially update your criteria to include AI readiness.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Your criteria list can't be static. It has to reflect your current business needs and the realities of the market you operate in. It's a living document.
Okay, that makes a lot of sense. So the big takeaway here seems to be don't treat selecting a software consulting company like that random box of chocolates.
Please don't.
It demands thought, structure, and ongoing evaluation. Every single criterion matters.
It really does. And maybe, as a final thought for you to consider, given how we've seen the business manager pop up again and again as such a crucial figure,
Yeah.
how could you maybe explicitly build the evaluation of that specific role, their competence, their engagement, their strategic value into your own written selection criteria next time you're looking for a partner? Something to chew on.